This is the series of Historic Capitals of America. This is a journey through the cities that governed a nation. Topeka, Kansas, the Prairie Capital. On the south bank of the Kansas River, where prairie, timber, and old travel routes meet, Topeka stands as a capital shaped by transportation, public life, and persistence. It is not a capital that grew from an ocean harbor or an ancient colonial port. Instead, it developed on the plains at a river crossing that linked the surrounding countryside to a growing town. Before its streets were laid out, and before the Capitol Dome stood above the river valley, this was a landscape of open ground, timbered bottomland, and long-established routes. Topeka's history belongs to the center of the country, but its meaning reaches far beyond Kansas. The Kansas River has always been central to the place. It offered a route of travel, a source of water, and a natural line of connection across the prairie. The name Kansas reflects the region's earlier indigenous history, a presence that remains part of the landscape's deeper story. For the people who later built Topeka, the river crossing and the surrounding land offered a practical setting for a new community. Settlement accelerated after the Kansas-Nebraska Act of 1854 opened the territory to rapid growth and political uncertainty. Newcomers arrived with competing ideas about government, land, and the future of the territory. Elections were disputed, rival political groups organized, and the period became one of the most turbulent chapters in Kansas history. Amid that uncertainty, Topeka began to take shape as a community with ambitions well beyond its first cabins and stores. The town was founded in December 1854 by settlers who organized the Topeka Town Association. Among the early founders were Cyrus K. Holliday, Fry W. Giles, Daniel Horn, and others who saw promise in the river crossing, the prairie location, and the political moment. The new community was planned with streets, lots, and public hopes, but its first years were uncertain. Cabins, tents, stores, meeting rooms, and claims appeared in a place still close to frontier hardship. Topeka soon became more than a settlement. It became a civic center. In 1855, delegates met there to draft the Topeka Constitution, one of several constitutions written during the territorial years. The document did not become the final state constitution, but its importance was real. It showed that residents were organizing around the language of government, law, elections, representation, and statehood. That early activity gave the town a political identity before it had much size. The territorial conflict was larger than Topeka, and towns such as Lawrence and Lecompton also played important roles. Topeka's distinction was the way its residents tied their hopes to public institutions. Meetings, conventions, newspapers, and local organizing helped turn a prairie town into a place of national attention. The years were often unsettled, with disputed elections, armed groups, and uncertainty over territorial authority. Yet the town continued to grow, and its name became associated with civic determination. Kansas entered the Union on January 29, 1861, as the 34th state. The nation was already breaking apart, and the Civil War would begin only months later. Topeka was chosen as the state capital, giving the young city a permanent role in public life. The decision joined the town's early political importance to the practical need for a seat of government. From that point forward, Topeka would speak not only for one community, but for the whole state. The early capital had to build itself while the country was at war. Public offices needed rooms, lawmakers needed places to meet, and citizens needed a government that could function in a state still young and unsettled. Topeka was guarded at times against possible Confederate or guerrilla threats, and Fort Simple was built near the center of town in 1864 as a defensive work. The fort was temporary, but its presence showed how closely fear and uncertainty could touch everyday life. The Kansas State Capitol became the great visible statement of the city's role. Cyrus K. Holliday and the Topeka Town Company donated land for the Capitol grounds. Construction began in 1866, only a few years after statehood, and the project lasted for decades. The building was completed in stages, first with one wing, then another, and finally the central section and dome. Locally quarried limestone, labor, time, political debate, and public money all went into the structure. When completed in 1903, the Capitol stood as a monument to persistence. Like Kansas itself, it had not appeared quickly or easily. It had been argued, built, delayed, and finished through determination. The Capitol's design gave Kansas a public home of dignity and scale. Its dome rose above the Prairie Capital, while its chambers, corridors, murals, and public rooms carried the symbols of the state. Later artwork, including John Stuart Curry's murals, deepened the building's historical voice with scenes of Kansas life and history. The Capitol became a place where the state could see itself in law, art, memory, and argument. It still stands at the center of Topeka's identity. Railroads also shaped the capital. Cyrus K. Holliday helped organize the Atchison, Topeka, and Santa Fe Railway, which became one of the great names in American transportation. The railroad connected Topeka to Western settlement, markets, migration, and national commerce. Tracks carried people, cattle, grain, manufactured goods, and ideas across the plains and beyond. Topeka grew as a railroad and government town, a place where state offices, depots, shops, schools, churches, newspapers, and neighborhoods worked together. The capital was not only a seat of lawmaking, it was also part of the movement that carried Kansas into the wider American economy. Education and reform became important parts of Topeka's story. Washburn University, founded in 1865 as Lincoln College, brought higher learning to the young capital. Churches, schools, civic groups, and newspapers helped shape a community that cared about public debate. The city also became home to Charles Curtis, born in North Topeka in 1860, who rose from Kansas politics to become Vice President of the United States. His career remains one of Topeka's most notable connections to national public life. During the 20th century, Topeka continued to grow as a center of government, education, healthcare, and transportation. State offices expanded, highways altered travel, and neighborhoods spread beyond the older city. The Menninger Clinic helped make Topeka known in the field of mental health, while Washburn University remained an important part of civic and cultural life. Museums, historic buildings, and community institutions preserved a connection between the city's past and its changing present. A powerful tornado struck Topeka in 1966, damaging homes, schools, businesses, and Washburn University. The city rebuilt with determination, and the recovery became part of its modern story. Like many American cities, Topeka has faced economic change, suburban growth, and ongoing debates over downtown renewal. Through those changes, the capital has remained the city's anchor, and the Kansas River has remained its oldest line of movement. Topeka's neighborhoods reveal the many layers of its development. Older residential streets, commercial corridors, railroad districts, public buildings, and university grounds each tell part of the story. The city has never been defined by a single institution alone. Its character comes from the way government, education, transportation, business, and everyday neighborhood life meet in one Prairie Capital. Visit Topeka today, and history still lives in its buildings, streets, and public spaces. The Kansas State Capitol rises above the city with a dome that can be seen from miles away. Constitution Hall recalls the territorial years, while railroad landmarks and historic neighborhoods reflect the city's growth. The Kansas River, museums, churches, schools, and university grounds all tell parts of a larger story. Topeka is not only a government town, it is a capital where public life has been shaped by work, learning, travel, and civic pride. Topeka's place in American history comes from the way principle and practicality met on the prairie. It began as a river-crossing community, grew into the capital of Kansas, built a state house over decades, and developed strong ties to railroads, schools, healthcare, and public service. The Prairie Capital remains a city of law, memory, and steady purpose. Along the Kansas River, beneath the Capitol Dome, Topeka continues to show how a growing community can build lasting institutions and carry its history forward.